Uncensored WP Episode 2, Supreme AI Writer. So last week we talked about the new release of the Divi AI service. It's a premium add-on service for the Divi theme that allows you to generate images and text content using AI quickly and easily. We talked about some of its drawbacks as well as some of its strengths and some places where it had to improve. This week, I wanted to stick sort of on the same vein of things and highlight a plugin called Supreme AI Writer for Divi. This is by the folks over there at Divi Supreme. Many of you might be familiar with Divi Supreme. It's a really great plugin that adds a bunch of modules to your Divi theme and allows you to have a lot more functionality and customization options as well. So it's a really great plugin. You should check it out if you haven't already. Anyway, Supreme AI Writer is similar to Divi AI in that it does allow you to create AI content. Now, it does not allow you to create AI images, only text. But it has a lot of really great features with it. We're just going to kind of very slowly go down here. It is $29 a year for a license, so it's not super expensive. You can generate code with it, which is really cool. All right, so let's jump into it. Now, one thing that sets this apart from Divi AI, and not necessarily in a great way, is that the $29 price tag on it is sort of misleading in a way, because yes, that's what you pay for this plugin. However, in order to use this plugin, you have to have an account over at OpenAI, and OpenAI charges based on the number of words and characters that you use. So you do have to pay for that, but it is really, really cheap. So it's not expensive at all, and it's definitely worth it. And in the end, it still makes it more affordable than Divi AI, which is something like $24 a month. So when you really do the math, you're probably spending less to use this one than you are on Divi AI. That doesn't necessarily mean this is the one you want to use. So let's take a look here. So once you've installed the plugin, you've got to go over to OpenAI, create your account if you don't already have one, then create a new secret key and add that in here. You can choose between ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo or ChatGPT 4. Now, right now, I still recommend using 3.5. The reason for this is 4.0 or Chat 4 is not really fully up to date yet. It's still got some work to be done to it. It hasn't actually officially been released, but it is really great. It is really great, so you can try to use it. But honestly, I personally would recommend sticking with 3.5 for the time being. The compatibility tab over here. So if you have third-party modules, such as, for example, Divi Supreme modules, not all of those will automatically be compatible with this particular plugin. So you may have to add in the module slug in order to make it work with that particular module. And if you do, it's not a problem. Just go ahead and add that in there and you'll have full compatibility. The miscellaneous tab basically only allows you to select whether or not to remove data on install, okay, or uninstall. So, all right, so basically you use this very similar to the Divi AI tool. We're going to go ahead and add a new post. We're going to use the Divi Builder. We're going to build from scratch. We're going to add a module. We're going to do a text module. And then we're going to select AI. So, here's one of the first differences you'll notice between Divi AI and Supreme AI Writer. When you're creating a content with Supreme AI or with Divi AI, you only get 3 tones to start with. You can get more tones when you go to refine the content. But again, you have to double work in order to make that happen. So that's sort of a disadvantage. Whereas with Supreme AI Writer, all of your tones are available right off the bat. So let's go ahead and pick friendly for this particular post. And then you go with writing style, which basically just helps you further fine tune the attitude and the style of the article. So since we're doing friendly, we also want our article to be informative. So we're going to go ahead and click informative. So we now have friendly and informative. You're going to select your language. In this case, we're going to stick with the site default English. And then here's where Divi AI has an advantage over Supreme AI Writer. So Divi AI, you can choose more options in terms of controlling word counts. So like at least, up to, or whatever. So there's a few different options. But you can select that. With maximum words, you can only select the maximum words. So, and it only goes up to 491. Now, you can put in a higher number than that. However, as with Divi AI, it's still only producing, in my experience so far, an average of 500 to 600 words, no matter how high you set this, okay? Now, I have had a couple of times where it actually did come closer to these numbers. I think it depends a lot on the prompts that you put in and how much detail you give. I think the more detail you give on your prompt, the more, in my experience, the more content it's able to create. So, which sort of makes sense. But anyways, temperature, what this does is this tells you how closely you want the AI generator to stick to the prompt that you enter. So if you want it to be dead on, like only about this topic and very, very tightly follow the topic, set this down as low as possible. The higher you set it, the more free range you give it to vary a little bit and create content that sort of branches out more. So I have found that leaving it at the default 0.5 is usually pretty good. It does a pretty great job. I have had a couple of occasions where I've gone and increased it or decreased it with good results. So just play around with that. Just depends on what content you're creating. Just play around with it and figure out what works for you. So now go ahead and enter in your prompt. In this case, we're going to write an article about the future of AI and WordPress development and how it will change how developers build themes and plugins. And then we just click on generate. Okay, so we have our content created. And this took just a little over a minute, so it's probably pretty much right on par with the time it takes Divi AI to do it. So that's pretty good. Here's another spot where this one kind of loses out to Divi AI. You'll notice that there's no formatting to any of this text. Okay, so you're not in any paragraphs or anything like that. It's not broken down into sections, anything like that. So that's a little bit of an issue, but you can go in and edit it to make sure that it does as well. So you can click regenerate as many times as you want, but we're just going to go ahead and go with what was created, and we're going to click use. All right, so you see our content is created. Now we can come in, we can edit this, we can break it down into paragraphs, into sections, etc. So that's kind of a disadvantage it has over Divi AI, which does actually break it down properly. So that's pretty much all there is to this plugin. I mean, it's a really easy to use plugin. It's a very simple plugin, and it does a great job at what it does. I can't wait to see the kind of improvements that come out with this and with Divi AI. But for now, this is a pretty good tool. Would I still replace OpenAI, ChatGPT, and with this? Probably not. I'd probably still stick, and I think I do for the most part still stick with using ChatGPT because that is free and it works really, really well, and it creates longer content for me like we ask it to. So with that being said, folks, this is the end of this episode. please go ahead and like and subscribe. Take another look at our first episode, and we will be back with next week. And I promise we will get off of the Divi bandwagon uh, with a new plugin or theme or service. I haven't really decided yet, but we'll get back into it and we'll do another one. And let me know what you think, folks. Hopefully, I'm improving, and hopefully things will get better for us. Have a good one.